Yo, what's up you guys? It's your boy Tren here with another Demon Hunter video. In this guide, I'm gonna teach you how to dominate in Arena. I'm gonna be talking about gear, stats, legendaries, covenants, and much more. Hope you're interested, hope you're excited. Let's get right into it.
Sleepless nights, so tired of it. I can't get you off my mind, can't forget it. Now I know what I've got to do is find my way back to you.
Alright guys, so let's get into the talents. Demon Hunter talents have changed so much in the second season of Shadowlands, and we're playing Demon Hunter completely different than we used to in the previous season. We are still playing with Fellblade and Demon Blades. I never actually picked Demonic Appetite or Burning Hatred. Some people sometimes ask me, why do you not play with Blind Fury? It's very bad, you can get kicked on it and it's not worth it. Fellblade gives you gap closer, gives you extra mobility, you don't have to use a Ferosh to really connect on the target, that's why it's really good. It also does nice damage. Demon Blades also just removes a global from your ability, so you have a passive Fury generation. And these two, you will always pick Fellblade, Demon Blades, okay? No matter what. Glaive Tempest, Unbound Chaos, Trail of Rune. These three talents are all good. I like to pick Trail of Rune into hunters only, because if I want to kill a hunter, they're very slippery, as you probably know. Like, they will kite, they will run around. You cannot really land an Unbound Chaos on a hunter. That's why playing with Trail of Rune is very nice, because he has pets and you do lots of AoE damage on the target. So Trail of Rune is very cool against hunters, but most of the time I play Glaive Tempest. The reason why I play with Glaive Tempest is because I play with the Collective Anguish Legendary. I will get into this later, but once you're playing with Chaos Theory, you kind of want to play with Unbound Chaos or Trail of Rune and not with Glaive Tempest, because you don't want to have a big Fury costing ability when you're playing with Chaos Theory. And if you play with Collective Anguish, you want to play with Glaive Tempest, because that gives insane burst when you stun a target. Leech, however, is very nice. I play Leech most of the time. I only play with Netherwalk into comps that are extremely bursty. In 3v3, I find myself picking Netherwalk more often, because into like Red Warrior or Rogue Mage, because the game is a lot more explosive these days. But in 2v2, if I'm just playing against a Warrior or something like this, I don't need to play Netherwalk, I can just play with Leech, and I can get away with it. You always pick First Blood, you never play Essence Break or Psycho Hatred, always Feather Option, always play Demonic. Now onto the Honor talents. This is where it gets fun, because Honor talents, a lot has happened to it, and we got a few new talents. The first big talent that we got is Chaotic Imprint. Many people come on my stream and they're like, Tren, why are you playing with Chaotic Imprint every single game? It is so bad. I literally pick it every single game, guys. Remember that. And they're like, it's a nature proc or a fire proc. We don't even have shadow damage, blah, blah, blah. Why do you play it? Now, guys, as you guys can see, that Chaos Strike, I-Beam, your Fel Rush, your Glaive Tempest, everything is Chaos damage. Chaos damage is every single school. So Chaos damage is Fire, Frost, Nature, Arcane. Every single school, doesn't matter. Your Chaos Strike, I-Beam, your Fel Rush, your Glaive Tempest gets enhanced by 10%. So basically this is just a 10% damage buff on all your main abilities. The only abilities that are not affected by it are your Fellblade, Immolation Aura, those are fire buffs, and the Hunt, which is nature buff. So basically for your entire rotation, you will benefit from it. So Chaotic Imprint is an insane ability, it increases your damage by so much. Mortal Dance, we now got a Blade Dance Mortal Strike. So before we used to have it on our Fel Rush, they actually removed that. And then now they put it on our Blade Dance, which gives us more mobility and it gives us easier uptime as well. So that's why I also want to play with First Blood all the time, is because when you play with Mortal Dance, when you have First Blood, you know, you can just spam your Blade Dance all the time and keep your Mortal Dance up. Mortal Dance is really good. I pick it into basically every single team if I don't have a Mortal Strike effect on my team. So if I'm not playing with a Windwalker, or if I'm not playing with a Warrior, I'll be playing it. If I play with a Warrior, I will not pick Mortal Dance, because it's no point. But nowadays you can play with DKs, you can play with Mages, Elementals. It's a lot better because of it, because now we have a Mortal Strike effect. The new ability that's called Isolated Prey is really strong. If you don't have to play Reverse Magic, I'll always be playing Isolated Prey. So this is how I always get into the arena. And if I see like, oh, there's a Hunter on the team or a Mage on the team, I'll pick like a Reverse Magic if I have to dispel something, or like a Shadow Priest. But if not, I'll be playing these three talents. The Isolated Prey one is really strong. Some people say like it's hard to get the I-beam off because, you know, the beam might hit 2 targets. You just have to aim it properly, and then you'll get your isolated prey 10% increased damage taken buff. Now imagine this, right? If you play with isolated prey and chaotic imprint, you have a 10% damage buff on your chaos skull, and with isolated prey you also have a 10% I-beam increased damage for 6-second buff. The burst you get from the hunt and your glaive tempest and your collective anguish I-beam legendary is just huge. It's huge. So every time you actually do a stun on a target, you literally destroy the healer or the DPS. So that's why I really like this combination, and I think this is the go-to spec for every single Demon Hunter. And if you have not tried this out yet, you should just definitely try it out. Alright guys, let's get to the Covenant section of the guide. So there are 4 Covenants you can choose from. There's Night Fae, Ventir, Necrolord, and what's that one that nobody plays? Kyrian. So basically I would say Kyrian and Ventir are for PvE, and Necrolord possibly for PvP, and Night Fae is, in my opinion, the best for PvP. The reason why I want to play Night Fae is because you have the Hunt, and the Hunt is such a powerful ability that is just unmatched with any other Covenant. Necrolord, sure, you get a lot of tankiness from it, but it just doesn't add up to the Demon Hunter toolkit. I feel like if you play Necrolord, your teammates are just gonna die, and Night Fae actually gives you kill potential. You can set up ghosts, and you can actually burst really, really hard with that Covenant. So that's why I like to play Night Fae. Now, when we get to the Covenants, there are 3: Dreamweaver, Khorane, and Naya. Now, Khorane and Naya are, in my opinion, pretty close to each other. But if you want to go for extra damage, I recommend you to play Naya. And I'm going to get into every single conduit as well, which one I think is the best for you. Now, in my opinion, I always want to go for the defensive Fel Defender part. I'm not playing with Relentless Onslaught because I do not play with Chaos Theory Legendary. I'm playing with a Collective Anguish Legendary, so my Kill Strike doesn't really have that much value. So I like to go here with the defensive, and I instantly put my Blur, my Fel Defender in here. It's a really, really strong endurance conduit. Secondly, Ravenous Consumption is, in my opinion, like one of the best finesse conduits that we have. So obviously we're gonna put this one here. Vicious Ink, I only have done 200 eye level, but it's still really strong. This is your best endurance conduit as well. And hands down, you know, every single class has magic damage. From hunters, from rogues, from mages, everyone has magic damage. So this is basically a flat 8% damage reduction, which is really, really huge for Demon Hunter. I like to go with Unnatural Malice because this gives the dot of 35% more damage. So it just makes your hunt do a lot more damage. So if you are in AoE, if you are with hunter pets and you hunt, the dot is going to do insane damage. So that's why I like to take it. Naya 2's Poison. You go for this. It's just, these other two are just really, really bad. So the burst is super bad. Don't ever play this. So just go with Poison. And then I like to pick Growing Inferno actually over Relentless Onslaught because my Immolation Hour does a lot of damage. And then I actually go with Cold Shot. Now, I used to actually play with Khorane a lot before you had Cold Shot because, you know, it would give you extra movement speed and stuff. But Cold Shot actually gives you 20% movement speed when you crit. And let's be real, like Demon Hunters, they crit all the time with I-Beam and whatsoever. So you actually get 20% movement speed with Cold Shot. And I like to play with the Condensed Animal Sphere, which heals for a ton. And it just helps Demon Hunter defensives. Alright guys, so now on to the gear part. This season, I feel like gear is playing such an important role. If you're under eye level, if you don't have the right stats, you're gonna fall behind like massively. So you need to make sure that you are using the right stats and that you're actually buying the right items. Now, I like to buy Versa Haste. There are some people that say Haste Versa or not. In my opinion, go full on Verse because it gives you flat out damage. Even if you're above 30%, it doesn't matter. And then go for extra haste. The haste will obviously help you a lot because more haste equals more demon blades, equals more fury, equals more damage. So haste is really, really beneficial for demon hunters. You get faster I-beams off, faster hunts off. It is just great. You also, your Immolation Hour has shorter CD if you have more haste. So versatility haste is really, really important. Alright, so for the legendaries, there are basically two legendaries you can play in the current patch. It is the Collective Anguish one and the Chaos Theory. Do not ever play with the Darkness Legendary because in my opinion it's just completely shit. The 50% chance under 30% is just not enough, and most of the time you just end up dying. I like to play with Collective Anguish because it's a reliable legendary. Whenever you need it, you can use it. Whenever you want to do a setup, you always know that it's gonna pop. And unlike the Chaos Theory one, it feels like it's a bit RNG, and I actually play a lot of setup based comps. What means is that I play with like an Elemental Shaman or a Fire Mage that does a setup, and we stun a target, you burst, and Collective Anguish helps a lot with that. And if you play like a comp, let's say Demon Hunter Warrior, Demon Hunter DK, you can get away with playing with the Chaos Theory one because you don't need that much setup. But personally, I like to play with the Collective Anguish Legendary. Alright guys, so now we get to the juicy part of the guide, okay? This will, trust me guys, if you do this, you will insta gain rating. Trust me on this, okay? So the hunt, guys, it's a channel. If you press it, everyone's scared of it. They think they're gonna die from it, right? So what have I started doing is I'm actually stunning a target. So I would go to a target, for example, I would stun it, I would I-beam, and if they would be almost dead, I would hunt, but I would fake it. You see that shit? It's not landing. And that is because I'm actually using a cancel cast macro. Now, what happens if people do this? They will overreact, they will maybe trinket, use a wall, they will spirit link, they will like parry or whatever, and you haven't used anything. And then the next stun, you still have that hunt, and you can actually maybe force another cooldown, like an Iron Bar, get that out of the way, and then you can score a kill. This is a unique thing that only Demon Hunter has, where they can actually fake a major cooldown and not use it and actually gain an advantage over. So I do recommend you guys use this macro because this will change the entire gameplay of your Demon Hunter.